Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our Game Annual Assembly today in our virtual webinar space. As you may know, I'm Celeste Kalanko, and I'm the current president of GAME, the Global Alliance for Medical Education, and we do have quite a packed meeting for you today, so I would like to welcome you all along. And at this point, I would like to ask the secretary to please call this meeting to order.
Welcome, everybody, and I call this meeting to order.
Okay. Just as an FYI, this meeting is being recorded to be put onto the website. If you have any issues with participating in a recorded meeting, unfortunately, we'll have to ask you to leave. Otherwise, please stay with us. Our agenda today is on your screen right now. We've called to order. And the first thing we would like to do, Dale, moving right along, if you can get the next slide, please, is like to speak to you about our some changes and welcoming all of you and ratifying our bylaws and our vision and our mission. As many of you know, we have spent, the governance task force has spent many long hours and days reviewing the current, or what were the current bylaws, to ensure that they were really reflecting what GAME was in 2021, 2020, 21, 22, and beyond. We have spent a lot of time. Those bylaws were approved, as was an update to the vision and mission statement by the full board, and then sent to you as our membership for any comments, remarks, or concerns. As we've not received any comments back, those are ratified and will take place, and our secretary, Julie Lynn Noel, will make sure that that's recorded and updated on our website. Dale, can I have the next slide, please? Just to allow you to understand, our new vision and mission statement, which we decided we should move to a vision, a mission statement, and discuss basically our organizational culture. So our new vision is a bit briefer: to shape the future of lifelong learning in healthcare worldwide. Our mission: GAMES achieves its vision by engaging global leaders of all stakeholder groups that benefit from lifelong learning, pioneering in healthcare, pioneering future practices to shape knowledge, translation, and lifelong learning, addressing barriers and developing solutions for collaboration in lifelong learning. And our organizational culture is that our core values are inclusivity, credibility, integrity, and transparency. And I want to thank you again, all of you members today, for joining us because and ratifying this, because we feel that this is very, very important for GAME in its mission moving along. We've spent quite a bit of time also planning on what our strategic imperatives are and what GAME is planning to do moving forward from 2022 through to 2025. And I'm going to call on our president-elect, Eva Tellman, to speak to you a little bit about this right now. Eva?
Well, thank you, Celeste. Good afternoon, everybody. Good morning. I think we also have a few colleagues from the US on the Zoom. I'm very happy to present you the GAME strategic imperatives for 2022 until 2025. Maybe first, I would like to introduce myself for everybody who does not know me so far. And I know we have some new team members and new GAME members on the call. I'm Eva Tallman. I'm the president-elect. I'm very proud of being the president-elect. It's a big honor for me. And in my day life, I'm working for Janssen in Europe. So what are our strategic imperatives? And it really links nicely into our mission and also to achieve our vision. First of all, you as members, you are the core at everything we are doing. We really want to increase the membership and the advocacy, but we really also want to focus on what you need as members. We are a member organization, and we really want to make GAME as helpful for you as any possible. We also discuss about strategic partnerships, develop strategic collaborations, connect and collaborate for enhanced networking and sharing our expertise. We had some good examples already last year. We are still going to seek out for other organizations who are in the learning space to collaborate with us. We are actually, I think, Celeste as president, but also me as president-elect, and also the whole board. We really believe this only can be a joint effort. We also want to enhance educational and research initiatives, provide activities, webinars, live meetings, research publication for US membership. We have the Futurist Forum, and you will hear more about it in a few minutes, but we also started with our educational initiative of creating really leaders in lifelong learning in healthcare, and you also will get an update on this. And then we also want to build GAME as a financially robust organization. You know, we are a non-for-profit organization, so we are dependent on grants, on support. We are having support from different sources, and we also want to increase these sources so that we really have a very robust financial background to deliver programs which are of value. Over all of this, we actually this is actually integrated. It's not pillar by pillar. It's actually an integration across all pillars. And what we also know, and thank you very much for everybody who came back. We had a little GAME survey to the members earlier this year, enhanced communication. So we really will focus this year also on communication, and Lee, our chair of the communication committee, will update you on this. With this, I hand it back to Celeste to follow up, I think, with who is in the GAME board, right?
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you, Eva. So as Eva mentioned, we are a volunteer organization, and we do depend on our volunteers and our volunteer board of directors. As you will see, this is the current board of directors on the GAME board currently. One thing I would like to point out here is that Dale Comerly, who was our past president, has moved into the role of executive director, which is a paid position within GAME, and hence he could no longer serve in the voluntary capacity of past president. Therefore, we want to thank your Koksama, who has stepped up and is acting as our acting past president for the remainder of this year. And he will also be chairing the nominations committee as part of that role as we move into 2023. So thank you very much to your for taking on that role and that responsibility. I will not go through the name of everyone on this board, but we'll give you a moment to read. But I do want to say thank you very much to everyone who has participated and been part of this organization. Next slide, please, Dale. I also want to say some thank you, because there were a few people who were not listed on that, that faces that you might have said are missing. That's because they have actually completed their full term according to the bylaws that they are able to serve as board members. And so Z, Trudy, and Vebo have all dedicated 6 years as members of the GAME board of directors. So they have stepped down at this time frame, but I did want to acknowledge and thank them very much for their service for the past 6 years. So please do join me in that thank you as well. I'm going to keep things moving along. I'm going to turn this over to our treasurer, Dean Beals, who's going to give you an updated treasurer's report.
Thank you very much, Celeste, and thank you, everybody. Welcome to today's meeting, and thank you all for joining us. We really do appreciate it. I'm just going to give you a very brief treasurer's report, specifically in terms of the cash that we have on hand. As you may know, we have two different accounts. We have a checking account that's held at Chase, where the majority of our funds are. But then as we receive payments for membership, the Futurist Forum, other kinds of things, those funds oftentimes go into PayPal. So that's our other account. And then those funds get transferred from time to time from PayPal to the Chase account. So total funds on deposit are 176,584. So we find ourselves at the moment in good financial shape, although the second part of that is really about fundraising, because if we just rely upon membership dues and fees for some of our educational programs, we cannot really operate it as an organization. So if I could have the next slide, please, I'll talk to you a little bit about where we are on that. So we do seek grants primarily from industry. Something we have been trying to do over the last couple of years is exploring other avenues for grants, other interested parties, but the obvious and sort of the simplest choice has always been industry to provide those kinds of grants. Obviously, they have a vested interest in what we do. To date, we have received grants from two industry partners, Gilead and Janssen. For the amounts that you see there. We have submitted grants to the following companies in the amounts that you see on the right-hand side of that chart. So we've received 73,000 to date. We are also looking to submit grants to the companies listed below: Merck, Pfizer, Takeda, UCB, Novo, and Lilly. As you may or may not know, it depends in a different organization where those grant requests fit in. Sometimes they're sponsorship requests, sometimes they're grant requests. So we are working on determining that for the balance of those folks down at the bottom. So in general, we're in good shape. Thank you very, very much to Celeste and Daniel for assisting with this process of grant submission. For those of you that have ever been in the grant submission process, you know it's a long and arduous task, taking multiple hours to submit these grant requests. So we've all kind of divvied that up, and thank you very much to Celeste and Daniel for working super hard on that. So if there are any questions, I can entertain them now, or are we going to wait until the end to do that, Celeste?
We do have a question and answer period at the end, Dean.
Okay, very good. So if you have any questions about games finances, we can talk about that at the end. Again, thank you all very much for attending today, and thanks to everyone who's helped so diligently with raising funds for our organization. Okay. So now I will turn it back over to Celeste.
Thank you. So as you all probably, as you have seen through the treasurer's report, we are in a healthy status as for now, and we are in looking at requests and receiving funds from other organizations. But you might say, well, what are we doing with these funds and where do they go to? So this is a bit of a snapshot of the different events that the funding has supported this year. In the first quarter of this year, we had our CPD leadership program, module 1, which ran from January and February, and you'll hear a little bit more about that shortly. We had a board of directors virtual strategy and planning meeting, which actually ran over 2 afternoons, and we spent a lot of time looking at what the future of the organization is going to look at. Some members of the game board participated in the APMEC virtual workshop and panel discussions. We presented assessing collaboration in lifelong learning, the Asia Pacific perspective, and that was a 4-hour workshop that GAME did conduct. We also did a plenary session on and panel discussion on the impact of human touch in technology, future approaches that include humanistic aspects of technology in the educational program. We made for the first time ever, we were submitted an abstract and were accepted at SACME. which for a virtual presentation on perspectives and innovation in educational design from the Game Futurist Forums. In Q2, we have the CPD Leadership Program for Game, and Module 2 starts on Wednesday. And just a reminder that this is free to any Game members. It's the first module was very well received. So if you're a Game member and would like to start and haven't signed up yet, there's still time to do so. Today is our annual assembly, and we have another board meeting on the 9th of June. When we hit into Q3, we have the CPD Leadership Program Module 3 will kick off. We're going to have a Game virtual meetup, as we found that those were very, very successful last year. And in Q4, we will have our third Futurist Forum, which is scheduled for the live portion to be in Montreal, Canada, the 14th and 15th of October. So if you can join us, we would love for you to do so. Our Board of Directors meeting, Module 4 of the CPD Leadership Program will kick off. And we're going to have educational tidbits rolling out. And yet again, to end the year, a final Game virtual meetup. So we've been doing quite a bit. We've had very, very active participation, especially from our committees. And now we're going to take this time to go through some of those committee reports and update you on a bit of a deeper level to the different committee reports. So I think first up, we are going to start with membership. And I turn this over to Kirk Terry, who's our membership chair. Kirk?
Can everybody hear me? I'm using a new system today. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know what I look
Yes.
like or what I sound like. So
Can hear you here.
Okay. All right. Can I get the next slide?
Yes, sir.
Yep. So we have a total of 174 members, and that is a 137% increase over last year. As you see, I've divided them up in Group A, Group B, the individual memberships, student membership, the lower income countries, and the lower middle income countries. And the Group A, I believe, let me get that up. So Group A members, for those of you who don't know, are annual memberships for up to 5 people at $540 a piece. And then Group B are up to 10 people at $1,080 a piece. I mean, not a piece, but per group membership. And the next slide. So there's an uptick of 10 student memberships since the last time I gave this report, and no significant loss in non-student memberships. And my suggestions moving forward is, because of the low numbers in lower income and lower middle income, and these are relatively new categories within the last year, we need to do more outreach to medical institutions and nonprofit or national societies. And also concentrate on, this is to raise membership in other categories. CPD budgets are increasing across different nonprofit societies. I know I just was with one until recently. I'm happy to drive both of these initiatives, and I plan on making this a priority in the next year. And that's all I have.
Great. Thanks, Kirk.
You're welcome.
Should I take over, Dale?
Yes, go ahead, Lee. Take over. Thank you.
Okay.
Apologies.
No worries. Good morning, good afternoon to everybody. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Lee van Beek. I'm the chair of the Communications Committee. My job today is to give some highlights from last year, and also to talk a little bit about our focus for 2022. So starting with last year's highlights, we launched the new game website last year. Just a big shout out here to Shalyn, who really managed this project and drove it through to completion. So Shalyn, I do know you're on the line, so just a big thank you to you for getting us to the end. Anyone who's been onto the new website will see improved functionality, navigation and features. So if you haven't had a look recently, please do go on and have a look at that. We ran 2 virtual meetups last year, so at the start of the year and in the summer. As Celeste said, these were really well attended, and the feedback from members is that they really enjoyed the opportunity to meet in a virtual space given the pandemic status, and that people had not connected with each other for a while. It was a lovely opportunity for us to have a chat in an informal setting and get to know each other a little bit better. We've also provided support for the Futurist Forum and the Leadership Program, and managing the communications out to the membership and promoting those two initiatives. And what we've also done is increased our use of LinkedIn to engage with current and prospective members as our primary social channel. If you want to go on, Dale, please. So focus for 2022 is enhance communications across the board, but what we really want to do is build a stronger game members network. So to support this, we're going to be delivering, our commitment is to deliver relevant, timely communications to the current membership about upcoming initiatives, and to increase our use of LinkedIn. So LinkedIn can be a little bit complicated, and our original game group had 1,500 followers, just more than 1,500 followers. It was a private group, which limits the ability of people to share posts outside of the group. So what we did was we created a new company page. This was open to all LinkedIn users, and posts could be shared and sponsored by anyone viewing the page. And the numbers here on the slide show an improved number of visitors and post impressions in just a month's time. So you can read there the increase in new followers up in a month, more than 800% in unique visitors, and the increase in post impressions as well. Another key imperative for us is to improve dialogue amongst the membership. Ava's already mentioned the survey that went out, and we'll continue doing that throughout the year. And then lastly, just to say that we're working with Curious Creative. So we're going to take them on board as a full service creative comms agency to help us improve marketing and SEO and for our other communication needs. And final slide from me is just to say thank you very much to the Communications Committee. Everyone volunteers their time. So Annette, Celeste, Dale, Ava, Julie, Lynn, Kirk, Lou, and obviously to you, Shilin. Thank you for all your time.
Thank you very much, Lee. Next report will be done by Dale on behalf of Samar, who is our education chair, but unfortunately had a conflict and was not able to be here today. She has prepared this presentation, but has asked that Dale present for her. Dale?
Yeah, thank you, Celeste. And right now, the Education Committee is deep in working very diligently on the CPD leadership program. Right now, we have Samar, Amy, Miriam, and Joe, who you see on the screen as a part of the Education Committee. So as mentioned, the global leadership program for CPD professionals is being launched at the earlier part of this year. So module 1 was a program that ran out for 4 weeks. And each module is 4 weeks. There's actually 4 modules over the course of the year to address this leadership program in CPD. The first module was specifically around leadership in CPD and leadership and how it's specific to the CPD. Module 2, which Celeste has mentioned, starts this week on Wednesday, will have a focus on essential leadership communication skills. And then modules 3 and 4 will roll out in fall of this year. So the metrics so far is we had 15 certificates awarded to registrants for module 1, and currently we have registrations for 20 registrations for module 2. I would like to mention that registrations is, the registration portal is still open. So if you are interested, go to the gamecme.org website, and you should be able to continue to register for the program. I know we have several people on the call here today who have attended the leadership program so far. So I'm glad to see your engagement here as well. So actually, I am going to be providing the Futurist and Innovation Committee report as well on behalf of Suzanne Murray and Celine Carrera, who are currently in transit to other programs and other activities that they're doing and were unable to join us. The Futurist and Innovation Committee has 12 active members. It's our biggest committee, and it consists of 4 subcommittees trying to get all of the work done that's necessary for pulling off this program, the Futurist Forum. We have the Instructional Design Committee, subcommittee, we have the Communications, Funding, and Logistics Committee. So we are awaiting some grant funding decisions, as was mentioned by Dean in his presentation, but we have expanded in-kind sponsorship with the Notified platform. So Notified is a hybrid meeting platform which works in both in-person as well as virtual activities. So Celeste has been instrumental in getting us connected with I believe it's the owner of Notified, or the president, or
President
of Notified. And they provided in-kind sponsorship. So again, trying to expand the groups that are involved in supporting us as an organization. Celine Carrera did join Suzanne Murray as co-chair, since I had to step down when I became the executive director. The website is developed and is being updated currently for the 2022 Futures Forum, and will roll out at the end of the month and become live. We did also hire a logistics manager, Chantel Godard, who is based in Montreal and is instrumental in getting us our hotel and working with the speakers for that we're going to have, the keynote speakers and other logistical activities. So the Futures Forum, more information will be available at the gamefuturesforum.com when it goes live at the end of the month. But I wanted to put here that the dates are October 14th and 15th in Montreal, Canada. And it's a live in-person meeting. We will be, of course, having safety and health guidelines and policies that we will be following, and that will be a part of our communication out to those who attend. Just wanted to put that out there. Registration will open at the beginning of June, and that'll be early bird registration. But what are the desired outcomes and outputs for the Futures Forum and what we're calling the Innovathon? So the Innovathon you can think about as a hackathon, but in terms of a little bit of a longer period. A hackathon is typically you get together and you work in a 3 to 4 hour, maybe even a day's period on a particular project. What we're looking at here is forming a learning community and developing innovative projects within the discipline of lifelong learning, but one that will last over a number of months. And will be started at the live meeting in Montreal. What we're looking for is to learn and experience a development process that you learn, you do, you learn, you do, linked to your own practice, your own context, and perhaps your own role within the field of lifelong learning. You will become a part of a group, or you can come as a part of a group for the Innovathon. We're looking to have teams of about 8 to 10 people that would think about the future, develop and use their futurist mindset and critical thinking skills to actually reflect on and create, design innovative projects on healthcare learning. A lot of these will be tied to the themes and to the solutions that have been discussed at previous Futures Forums. So one of the things that we really want to do is we've kind of talked about, collaboration in lifelong learning. We've talked about technology in lifelong learning and the human touched aspects of technology. We've talked about the futurist mindset, and all of these topics that came up were very interesting, but now we want to take those discussion points and bring it back together and actually create projects based around those, and to bring those to an implementation phase. And I think that's what is innovative about this, Innovathon is what we're calling it. And you look forward to having you come, understand, expand your perspective, and perhaps learn from each other and inspire each other as a collective group. So this is kind of a graphic that kind of will shows you a little bit in graphic form what we're looking at. So we'll have the live in-person meeting in Montreal where you get together, meet your teams, build trust in the teams. And then over the next couple of months from November through March, you'll have virtual team meetings working on your project. Those team meetings will be developed by, how the frequency of those team meetings will be developed by you, the team. It may be just 3. That's, I think, what we think is the minimum, but you may decide to meet every month. It's totally up to you and what your team decides that they want to do. In May of next year, we'll get together and have presentations, a webinar situation, much like this, and then we will vote and award the best project. I believe that's it from my section. I look forward to addressing any questions that you might have on this during the Q&A.
Thank you. Thank you, Dale, for presenting for both of those situations. I'm next going to turn this over to Dean Jenkins, who is the chair of the IPACME group, which is currently the community of practice that is associated with GAME. Just a reminder that we don't have to have just one community of practice. So if someone feels that there's an area that would like to associate themselves with GAME as a community of practice, please make sure that you reach out to the board. But in the meantime, I am going to ask Dean Jenkins to update us on the IPACME community of practice. Dean.
Thank you, Celeste, and thanks, and hello, everybody. For those who don't know me, I'm Dean Jenkins. I'm a physician. I work in UCB, pharmaceutical company, and I'm currently the network lead or chair or whatever you want to call it of IPACME. IPACME was formed, I think, about 10 years ago in Montreal in the 2010 GAME meeting. And it's the International Pharmaceutical Alliance for Medical Education. And it's an opportunity for us in the industry who want to explore the challenges and opportunities that exist together to get ideas of best practice. And we have representation from a number of companies, which I've listed there. You would imagine that the pharma industry would be very well organized and have all processes in place to support all the exciting projects that are available. But even though I've only been in the industry for just over 4 years and have experience with one company, I can assure you that the word on the ground is that there is a lot of complexity in trying to achieve what we want to try and achieve. So we find it extremely valuable to get together as a group to share what are the real challenges with getting things done and dealing with internal processes, dealing with regulatory affairs and that sort of thing. Next slide, please. Thanks. We get together regularly as a group. We're about 25 individuals from the different companies, and we have a monthly call. And we also, in that call, we share hot topics. If there are regulatory changes or challenges, or which region of the world is the most challenging logistically and to get things coordinated, then we will discuss that. We also share best practice and case studies. We have in the past, and Eva Thalman was involved in a publication project before I joined IPACME, but that we have been involved in publications as well, and position statements as to where industry stands and advocating for high quality medical education. In between calls, we have an online discussion and also exchange questions and answers by email. IPACME members are involved in MAPS and in FPEER and in other organizations as well, and bring that experience into the group. We also support medical education congresses around the world as well, and are looking forward to supporting the European Forum again this year, and also the Futurist Forum. We're exploring what we can do in different regions to support the Futurist Forum, which Dale just mentioned. I'd like to thank all the colleagues in other companies who are continuing to be very engaged in IPACME, and also the game who kindly allow us to use their Zoom facility, which is independent then of any one company, and we can then openly discuss and exchange ideas. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dean. All right. So this is actually the part of the assembly today that I'm most pleased to be able to share with all of you. As a while back, the board was discussing the need for volunteers and the fact that we do have so many people who do volunteer, non-board members as well as board members, that really make game what it is today. And for those of you who don't know, that Lou Miller, who is still a member of our board emeritus, was actually the founder of GAME many years ago. I believe it was 1995 when he started GAME. He was also instrumental, and he started the Alliance in the US as well. But Lou has done a tremendous amount for medical education, continuing medical education, both in the United States and around the world. And as he is still part of our board, we thought it would really be an honor for our volunteers to receive something that reflected Lou and his ideas. So we have voted to give an annual award, the Lou Miller Award for Volunteerism. You know, we run by volunteers. You know, we do have some funding, and other than the one paid role that we have, this is an entirely volunteer organization. You know, Lou has an incredible biography, which is sitting on the GAME website right now, that really explains how much he has given to this industry over the years, and his volunteerism and charitable work in and of his own right. So we felt that it was really, really important to recognize both Lou and to recognize our volunteers. So, as I mentioned, our board is a volunteer board, but this award goes to people were nominated who were non-board members who have still dedicated significant time to the GAME organization. And they could be committee chairs, committee members, you know, all types of different volunteers. So Dale, could you please reveal the nominees this year? And these were nominated by the board of directors. So this year's nominees are Celine Carrera, who many of you know. She's been a member of GAME for quite a few years. She has sat on the governance task force. She was secretary at one time for GAME. And most importantly, when we needed a co-chair recently for the Futurist and Innovations Committee, she stepped up to the plate for that. Our second nominee is Amy Farr. Amy Farr is been a member of many, many different committees. Currently, she's extremely active in the Education Committee and in the planning and rollout of the leadership program. She also sits on the Futures and Innovation Committee and has become the communications liaison for the FIC and with the Communications Committee. Daniel Guiney has volunteered rather recently, but has played a very strong and important part in helping us to raise funds get grants out and organized. And he's been leading that fundraising chair, which I don't think I need to tell anyone here how important it is to make sure that we have funding as a volunteer organization. And the final nominee is Dean Jenkins. As you've just heard, Dean is a member of the IPACME group and leads that, but he has also participated. He sits also on the Futurist and Innovations Committee and was also a key member of the governance task force. So it is with my pleasure, Dale, the winner is and congratulations to Amy Farr, the Education Committee, Futurist and Innovations and Communications Committee. I believe, Dale, do we have Lou Miller available to share a few comments today?
Yes, he raised his hand. I will promote him to panelist so that he can speak.
Terrific. Thank you.
Actually, allow him to talk. So Lou?
Okay. Can you hear us, Lou? Lou, you have to come off mute.
All right, now I'm off mute. I'm seldom off mute. It's a real honor to be memorialized while I'm still partly alive. And I appreciate that. At 93, I don't know how many more days or years I'll have, but I haven't given up yet. In fact, just surprisingly, I was approached a few weeks ago to consult with a group of expatriate Chinese who are trying to develop a new platform for CME here in the United States. They were kind enough to offer me a job at $100,000 a year to help them with what they were doing. But I didn't know what I'd do with that money, and nor did I want to spend that much time. So I've just started consulting one day a month with them. And it does tell me that somehow or other, there are some germs of ideas left in this mind. I think that volunteerism is so crucial, and I've been doing it most of my life, and in the CME field, certainly when I founded the Alliance way back in 1975, before most of you were born, we had a wonderful turnout. That organization grew and grew, and it just, what I like about what I've done in volunteerism is not so much that I've done it, but that the ideas that I've had have come across to many, many people. And they have joined in, as now has happened with GAME, with Amy and the others who are nominated. I think it's a great tribute to me that people want to be involved. I think it's a great tribute to our organization that it makes a difference, not only for ourselves, but for dozens or sometimes hundreds of other people, for us to provide the kind of leadership that says, we are making a difference and we're going to make things better as we go along. So I thank you all for the honor. I congratulate Amy on being the first winner of this prize, or what award rather. And I look forward to being around for a little while longer.
We hope so too, Lou. We sure do.
Thank you, Lou. We very much do appreciate all of your efforts. And I have to say a personal thank you to you, because you are the person who got me involved in international CME CPD. And quite a few years ago, but it's been a real pleasure. And we continue to hope that you participate, and I know that you will continue to contribute. So you are a role model for very many of us. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We have Amy Farr online as well.
Okay. Amy, would you like to say a few words?
Sorry, I'm not sure if you can see me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, excellent. I have far too many screens open at once. I just want to say thank you very, very much. I think I don't volunteer to be recognized. And when I saw the big list of people, I thought, wow, what an impressive group volunteering for a game. But I must admit, I'm truly, truly honored. And when I saw the list of Lou's accomplishments, I thought, wow, I want to be like that when I grow up. And excellent role model and giving so much to the community. And yeah, we do the best we can. And it's great to be a part of game. So it's a real honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you. Next slide, please, Dale. So we're going to open up for question and answer period. Anyone, if you can either type the questions in the Q&A section. I have responded to a few, or if you would like to speak, just put that in into the message, and Dale will give you the ability to speak. But in the meantime, while we're waiting for any questions, I do want to again remind people that this is a volunteer organization. We're only as good as the amount of help and volunteers that we receive. So please, if you would like to participate in any way, shape, or form, big or small, we've got plenty of committees, we've got plenty of things that people can do. Please do reach out to either myself, to Ava, to any member of the board, or any of the committee chairs. And we'd be happy to welcome any of you to be part, to be more active within the organization. But if you don't have the time to do it, we understand that as well. The world is quite challenging, and we do hope that you are gaining some benefit from all of the different activities that we at Game are trying to provide for you. And if there's anything that you'd like to see us do differently or add, please reach out. And if it's possible, we'll definitely consider it. If it's possible, we'll do it.
Celeste, there is already a question from Eleni Politi, and it's all about who is eligible to participate for the Innovation Award. She has worked for the industry in European leadership roles, but now she is working as a postdoc researcher in CPD. She needs to fund her research. Is this award relevant for her? And are there any other grants that she can apply for? That's her question.
Okay. So I think the short answer is that anyone is eligible, but I do think as I may defer this question over to Dale at the moment, because I believe that this is more probably focused on the Futurist and Innovation Committee and what we're doing there with the Futurist Forum. Dale, do you have any comments?
So it sounds like from what I was reading that there is a question on, do we provide grants for research, et cetera? And we currently don't do that, although I think that's a very good idea. I know that the discussion has come up in a number of instances from the board of directors when we had our strategy meeting. And I think you heard it in Eva's presentation that research is one thing that we want to become involved in a little bit more as an organization. But with regards to becoming involved, yes, please, reach out to info@gamecme.org, and I will get you connected and answer any questions that you might have additionally. I think Lou also had his hand up for a question.
Well, I wanted to ask, can you hear me, Dale? Wanted to ask, looking back at as I recall it, there were several other major companies that contributed to game that aren't on our list today. Can you explain why the shifts are going on? Is it because of changes in leadership in the companies, or they're cutting back on grants? It's just helpful to know why something hasn't worked that's worked in the past.
Yeah, it's a good question. Go ahead,
Dean
Dean.
Dean Beals, our treasurer.
Sure. Yeah, and we can talk about this offline, Lou, if there are specific companies. We've reached out to most every company. Some simply don't have the facility to fund these sorts of things in the past. As you know, funding has become much more specific, sadly, and aligned more directly with areas of interest. And what I mean by that typically is areas of disease state and product development and things of that nature. There used to be a bucket of funds for things that were outside of that. That said, if there's specific companies who you think would be helpful for us to approach that were not on that list, more than happy to talk about that. And if we can make it happen, we certainly will.
Okay. Do we have any other questions?
I don't see any open questions or hands up at this point.
Just give another
I think
moment.
we have a few interests, Celeste, from new members to work a little bit closer and to volunteer. I think just to say it again, what you already said, reach out to Celeste, to me, and we are very happy either to set up an individual call, to guide you through the project, to look what your interest is, which committees you would fit. So yeah.
Terrific. And I'm going to say, Lou and Amy, please do make sure you read through the chat. There's lots of lovely messages from the game members there for all of you. Okay. And thank you to those who have offered to volunteer. We see that as well. You will be hearing from us. So we actually are running a little ahead of schedule today, but if there are no other questions, I'm going to give everybody about 15 minutes of their life back to do what all those things that you need. So Dale, if you would bring, I think Julie Lynn as our secretary, I believe it's your call to adjourn the meeting.
Yes, I am calling this meeting adjourned, and thank you very much, everybody, for your participation today. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Have a good afternoon.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day or evening.
Bye-bye now.